I am joined right now by one of my heroes, a childhood hero of mine. I was, a short Jewish boy growing up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I wanted to be like Allen Iverson. Of course, I wanted to be like Kobe Bryant, but I also wanted to be like the Jewish Jordan, Tamir Goodman, a guy who's a legend amongst all Jewish families, basketball, folklore. This guy is a legendary figure when it comes to basketball. We're so pleased to be joined by Tamir Goodman right now. He's got a brand new children's book coming out called Live Your Dream, the story of a Jewish basketball all-star. Tamir Goodman comes to us right now from Israel. Tamir, thanks so much for being with us. It's an honor to speak with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure and honor to be on the show.
So let's set the stage about a little bit of your life before we get into this book, because you're such an inspiration to so many people. When you're a junior, you're one of the top ranked high school players around the nation. You're averaging about 35 points per game. You're in Baltimore. You're the 25th ranked player from a high school perspective across the nation. You're a prolific figure. And what ends up happening is you're getting recruited. All this great stuff is happening. The University of Maryland is trying to come at you. And we got to remember back in those days, Juan Dixon, all those teams. I mean, University of Maryland, these were prolific teams, a prolific program when it came to college basketball. But your Judaism, your faith, you're raised in an Orthodox Jewish family, and it prevented you from playing like we know from guys like Sandy Koufax and all these types of guys. You wouldn't play Friday nights and Saturdays with, your faith and observing the Sabbath and Shabbat. So it's a fascinating story. You're dubbed the Jewish Jordan from Sports Illustrated in 1999, and you go on to have this tremendous career. We're going to break down all these things, but when you're reflecting back and you're thinking, you have a son now who's a 6'3" point guard who's doing a lot of good stuff. When you reflect back and you think about your Judaism, your faith, do you feel sometimes like, man, I should have maybe gave a little bit in certain directions just so I could have seen the full potential of what I could have put on display?
That's a really great question. I actually feel the opposite. I feel like my Judaism gave me purpose, it gave me guidance, it gave me clarity, it gave me inspiration. It taught me how to handle the really great times and also how to handle the really challenging times, and always guided me in a more meaningful and happy way. So I don't think that Judaism got in the way of basketball. I feel like Judaism helped me with basketball and what my intention should be when I'm on the court, when I'm off the court, and very thankful for my heritage. And I also was fortunate enough to grow up around my hero. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, and just having her in the house was always just made the Judaism so real and alive, and always seen as like a blessing and not something that was preventing me from anything.
It's a fascinating thing. You end up going to Towson, right in your own backyard, and eventually you go on to play for Maccabi Tel Aviv. David Blatt, who we all know coached the Cavs with LeBron, but this is how good you were. A Capital Classic All-Star game. You won the MVP of that. This is an award that Shaq and LeBron won. So do you even, as you now you're a parent, you understand things, does it even register just how good you were? How did you become such a tremendous basketball player? I'm so curious the effort, the hard work you put in to get to this degree of professionalism at such a young age.
Well, first, I fell in love with the game. It starts with falling in love with the game. And then, thank God I was surrounded in the perfect scenario. My parents were very supportive of me. My coach who raised me, he I think he believed in me more than I believed in myself. And a lot of times when you surround yourself around people that really believe in you, great things could happen. A lot of prayer and a lot of hard work and a lot of challenges and setbacks and overcoming and resilience and a lot of blessing from above. And I think that basketball, they say not, basketball is 90% confidence and mental confidence and 10% physical. And I think I got my confidence in knowing that I was very dyslexic off the court, but on the court, the dyslexia just gave me a certain type of vision, a certain type of intuition on the court. I just felt like I could get my teammates the ball, even if they knew they weren't open. So going on the court, I think I just got a certain type of confidence in being that like I knew my dyslexia was going to allow me to see things that other people weren't seeing, and that's what gave me my confidence on the court, and I guess helped me along the way. And I won that MVP at the Capital Classic because of assists, not because of scoring points. So
It's fascinating. And I didn't know the whole dyslexia wrinkle to all this stuff. And, so much of the imagery of in my mind of you in these moments that you're captured in media. I mean, we got to remember this is before Instagram, this is before social media. So, the nature of your narrative and how it captivated the minds of so many people along the country when it came to basketball is a fascinating thing. You're taking pictures with a basketball while you're also, doing, you have a kippah on, you're doing to fill in some of these photos where, so there's so many fascinating elements to this. But a real quick question. So with this dyslexia, which is fascinating with Live Your Dream in this new book that you have coming out, a children's book that has great illustrations and a great story and a great message, but even reading Torah and all your Torah study, I mean, navigating that. So beyond reading a book or in class for English traditional school work, what about how was that reading Torah and all that stuff for you?
correct. When you grow up the way that I grew up, it's two languages. Half the day you're studying in Hebrew, and then half the day you're studying in English, and then going back to what the media was like back then. Yes, now social media, you're always in the media. You're bombarded with stories throughout the day, but back then, I had there was one week where I had 700 media requests in one week, and there was so much media surrounding my journey. And the
But
scary
from a
thing for me with this,
dyslexic standpoint, like reading, what was harder, reading like the Count of Monte Cristo or Romeo and Juliet, or reading the Talmud or reading the Torah? Like, how did that work with dyslexia?
yeah, it was very, very hard. Everything, reading Hebrew, reading with English, also anything to do with numbers, and the pressure of it, meaning that like, yes, I was being recruited on the one hand by all these, like I had the Division 1 offers, but I couldn't pass my SATs. And to me, that was terrifying because I was scared that everybody in the media was going to find out about that. That like, oh, the Jew, he's dubbed the Jewish Jordan. He's got all these Division 1 offers, but at the same time, like I'm not going to be able to pass my SATs because I could hardly read and write or do anything with numbers. So that was terrifying. I actually had to do basketball clinics to like raise money, make money so that I could like help pay for private tutoring for my SATs. And eventually I barely passed my SATs. I got the minimum to be able to qualify to play. But then once I got to college, I made Dean's List. And I taught myself at that moment that um, being dyslexic doesn't mean you're stupid. I barely passed my SATs, but once I got my shot here in college, I made Dean's List. And I just put in my mind at that moment that like one day, if I ever become a pro player or whatever it is, I want to try to inspire kids that may have learning difficulties to let them know that they are not stupid. They're smart, and they're smart in a really unique way. And that's why I'm very excited about this book.
And the culture wasn't the same as it is today. Back in, today, there's all these resources at everyone's disposal. If a child has that, even understanding and calling, speaking into existence what you have. At what age did you even realize, because you just think you're living your normal life. At what age do you realize, oh, I actually have a medical, condition here. There's something that is different about me that I'm not even, aware of.
From a very young age, I knew that there was some serious struggles. I had to go to tutor before school every day. I remember crying in one of my principal's office and just trying to let him know that I was not stupid. Like I'm telling you, just give me a shot, because they kept on, putting me in these special classes. And like you said, the awareness just wasn't there. The way we spoke, the way we understood learning difficulties was just very different back then. I think like basketball training and the mindset of basketball of being resilient and overcoming and getting back out there. You miss shots, you got to get back up and continue shooting, and things like that. I think helped me in the classroom, because I just kept on trying and trying and trying, no matter how many times I failed. And I think that's like a great attribute to life that I've picked up from basketball.
It
just
definitely, it
continue to
definitely
try to plow through.
It definitely translates. And, I think we have to just set the stage because it's so fascinating. You're at the Talmudical Academy of Baltimore. So, this is a religious high school. It's almost like a Disney movie if you think about this, because you got the 25th ranked player in the country. It's like, you almost need Dennis Quaid to star as the coach or something for a Disney movie like this, because you got the 25th ranked player in the country who's averaging 35.4 points per game. And I'm just trying to picture the teams you're playing, what your teammates look like. Like, give us an example of how a typical high school game would go down for you when you're this junior at scoring at this ridiculous rate. What did it look like from a competition standpoint?
Right. Yeah, that's a very good question. And it really is like a movie. It's kind of like a mixture of like Rudy and Rocky and all these type of movies of where like, at first it's like we're in this really old gym that people can't even believe we're playing in the gym, but like we have pride in that gym where we clean it ourselves and we're doing everything we can to build up the basketball program. And all the way, once I got to my junior year, we couldn't even play in that gym anymore. We had to start renting out college gyms, and then there wasn't even room in college gyms. It was so sold out and lines out the street, people trying to get in. 60 Minutes was there, and ESPN was at like every game, and Sports Illustrated, and it really was unbelievable. And eventually we started having to schedule better games, better against better players, better competition, and people that were there still talk about it till today. And yeah, we actually are working on a movie too, so hopefully that will come out and be able to inspire other people. And I guess the message is that yeah, you can play at a yeshiva with only 60 kids in the entire school, and ultimately still be able to live out your dream. And that's what the book's about. And I'm thankful that I was able to do that.
With this book, I mean, so many young children, from the dyslexia to the basketball to, I mean, even today's age. I mean, listen, you're in Israel right now. A Jewish person in America, it's a lot different than how it was for you growing up in, not in the 90s. For me, I'm born in 92. So being a Jewish American today is a totally different thing. Tell us a little bit about, you've always seemed to really gravitate towards the special meaning behind this stuff. It's not just basketball, it's about the messaging, it's about what you're learning, how you're growing as a person, the representation you're putting out there for younger people. And I think you always were an old soul and demonstrated that even in your young pictures. You have just there's an essence to you that is an older soul, almost like it's a rabbinical kind of quality to yourself. But tell us about the temperature of anti-Semitism, all these types of things. In a lot of ways, the Jewish Jordan story is more important than ever, I think, especially for young Jewish kids. And this is a book for everybody, but selfishly, as a Jewish American, as a kid who my grandparents were, Holocaust survivors as well, my great grandparents. So to me, I think this book, the timing of it, Live Your Dream, the story of a Jewish basketball all-star, leaning into that, what does it mean to you right now? And why is this more important than ever, this tale?
Correct. Yeah, I think the timing is perfect because of everything that's going on. And there's, one story in the book that I shared that there was this thing called raising the roof back in the day, and I hit a game-winning shot. And after I hit the game-winning shot, I raised the roof. And after that, I went over to my father, bless his memory, he gave me a big hug, and he said, very proud of you for the game-winning shot, but you must always practice humility. You have to let your game do the talking. And I think that's the message for today is that when we let our game do the talking, meaning we try to be sweet to everyone, we try to have a strong identity, we try to better the world, we try to uplift everything we're involved in throughout the day. These are all very old, Jewish traditional ways of life that we live. And I think like that's the calling for this hour is we have to let our game do the talking, meaning like we have to try to be the best human beings that we can be and uplift everything around us. And by that, we uplift the entire world and people. And then hopefully by doing that, it'll have a domino effect that we're living in an environment of much more respect, much more communication, and a much healthier life for everyone around us. So I think, yes, the book is coming out perfect timing right now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful message. Hanukkah, the holidays, Christmas, all these great times right now. It's a great thing to gift family members that you're surrounded by. It's fascinating. So I just want to get a few, things on record because I'm fascinated about how they went down. So, University of Maryland, they really weren't on board with you at all, observing your faith and not being able to play Friday and Saturday. Explain to our audience how that really went down. What happened behind those closed doors with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, originally, and I just want to say, like, till today, I have an amazing relationship with everyone, from the University of Maryland. Coach Billy Hahn, who was recruiting me, he passed away, unfortunately, but all the way up until the time he passed away, I was in great terms with him and his family till today, and the teammates from then, I'm in touch with them still till today. Originally, it looked like it was going to work out, and they would be able to accommodate me, but as time came closer, they just basically said, you have a scholarship, you could play here, but if you're going to play here, based on how we see all this moving forward and Sabbath, because I can't play from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. If I wanted to stay and play, I'd have to play on the Sabbath. And I just said, Coach, thank you so much for the opportunity, but for Jewish people, Shabbat is more important than basketball. And they just gave back the scholarship. There was no hard turn. No, no,
Wow.
everybody understood it. And thankfully, Towson University was able to change the schedule. So I was able to live out my dream and do something impossible of earning a Division I scholarship without playing on the Jewish Sabbath while wearing my kippah on my head. The coaching staff just came over to my house. My father took out a Jewish calendar. We went over all the dates. They took down notes and they put together a proposal and they were able to change the schedule. And I am forever grateful to the coaches and my teammates who made that possible. We have a book promo event coming up in New York on Monday, and I'm thankful that one of my coaches from Towson who made this happen is going to be showing up. So it's something that changed my life forever. I'm forever grateful for. And then hopefully through this book, kids should be able to understand that even if they come from a different background or they have some type of learning difficulty, they could still live out their dream.
Yeah, it's a beautiful message, and the understanding from, non-Jewish people and being able to welcome you with open arms and be understanding to those circumstances is such a beautiful thing. And you go on to play at Maccabi Tel Aviv, which is high level basketball. You still do so many great camps in Israel. You got guys like Eddie Curry, I always see there, Omri Caspi, all these guys that you're always involved with. So it's a beautiful thing. And as you're playing professional basketball, even in high school, for our audience who might be a little younger and didn't get to see you play, who do you liken yourself to? I mean, when you reflect back and watch your old tape and, you got a son now, a point guard, all that stuff. So when you reflect back on your game and the type of player that you were, who do you see in the NBA that you would liken yourself to? How did you attack the hardwood?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. Yeah, first of all, basketball is all about relationships and Eddie Curry and all these guys. I'm Jewish, but I graduated from predominantly African American Christian school, and then I roomed in college with a Muslim basketball player named Mohammed, who I'm still in touch with today. And we played with players from all over the world in Israel, and it's a big part of my journey of these relationships and continuing to bring people together through basketball. And then on the court, like I said earlier, because of my dyslexia, it's always been about passing and getting other people involved. So anytime I'm watching a basketball game and watching great passing, that's kind of like what reminds me of like how much I love the game and what it was like. To me, there's nothing like getting the ball to a teammate when they don't even know they're open and letting them shine and getting five players to play as one unit. So anytime watching games of today, like any of the great passers of today, that's what gets me most excited
I
and I
love it.
love
I
seeing.
think there's definitely a lot of different people that come to mind. Maybe a little Jason Williams. People can remember a little bit of that.
And Jason Kidd, I don't know if
Yeah, a
people can
little
remember
Jason
him too.
Kidd. Now the coach of the
Yeah.
Mavs. People remember him, former point guard. So it's interesting. So then you're in Maccabi Tel Aviv, but here's what's so fascinating about your perseverance, the type of person you are beyond basketball. You serve as you made Aliyah to Israel. You moved there. You're living a life there. You're a Maccabi Tel Aviv professional basketball player, and then you go to do your mandatory service in the IDF, the Israel, Defense Forces. But I wasn't even aware that this was an award in the IDF. You won Most Outstanding Soldier of the Israel Defense Forces. So you're winning MVPs at the Capital Classic All-Star Game. You're doing all these tremendous things, and then even when it comes to the defense forces, the army, you're actually winning awards there. What is it about your makeup that's so special? I know you're a very humble guy. You mentioned your father. We don't want any raising of the roof. I can do the raising of the roof for you. But there's something, a special quality that obviously translates from the hardwood to all different aspects of life. What was it about you in the IDF that made you get seen to be recognized that way?
Yeah, I think it goes back to basketball, like you said. If you were to ask my coach till today, what is basketball all about? He will always respond, basketball is about listening and paying attention. If you could listen and you could pay attention, then you're going to be good at basketball. And I think for dyslexic people, we're constantly compensating throughout the day. We're working muscles in our brain that other people aren't using because we can't really read as well. So like our listening skills oftentimes and our paying attention, like we have to pay attention to details because we might not be able to read them or whatever it is, we're listening really well. I think that's what really helped me because I'm just listening and paying attention, listening and paying attention, whatever they say, I'm gonna do. And also at the same time, it's about, teamwork and the humility. And it definitely, it all comes from basketball. So, basketball is a way of life. And it's not only like how many points you score, it's about how you take the values of the game and apply it to your life. And hopefully, again, like the book is going to be able to bring out some of these messages as well for the younger generation.
All right, two last questions for you, real quickly. If you had advice for somebody who wanted to be like you, against all odds, they're dyslexic, they might be, short, they can have a bunch of different things going against them. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody who wants to excel in any aspect of life?
I would reframe all of those things and let people know that sometimes our challenges are our greatest springboards. Our challenges aren't given to us to break us down and move us away from reaching our potential. Our challenges show us how to reach our potential in the most authentic and meaningful way.
All right, I love it. And real quickly, Live Your Dream, the story of a Jewish basketball all-star. Why is this book going to be so important for so many young kids out there, so many families that want to demonstrate all these teachings? Why is this going to be the book? I think this is going to be the book of the holiday season. There's
Thank
eight
you.
nights of Hanukkah. You got to give this book out at least one of those nights, right? Let's see it. Yeah, beautiful book right
Yeah,
there.
I think, I think sometimes when children find out that they have a learning difficulty or any type of challenge, it may want to break their confidence. They might feel like crushed and unmotivated and not good enough. And hopefully, this book will let them know that not only they're good enough, they're they're actually like superhuman in disguise because this book will teach them to take those challenges and to take those feelings and to flip them around and let them know how special they are and that they will be able to reach their potential and they'll be able to do it in the most meaningful and positive way that they're reaching their dreams and hopefully inspiring everyone else around them to reach their dreams no matter what's going on in their lives.
I love it. Listen, Tamir Goodman, Jewish Jordan, dubbed that, coined that by Sports Illustrated back in 1999. He's still doing so many tremendous things in our world. You got to make sure you go check out Live Your Dream, the story of a Jewish basketball all-star. Perfect Christmas, Hanukkah, holiday gift for you and your family and your loved ones. I'm going to be Shomer Shabbos for the weekend. I'm trying I'm going full out for this Shabbat this weekend. I'm going to be thinking about so many of your messages and these teachings and these things that I learned this week. When I meet you in person, I think we got to start a line of yads because with the dyslexia thing and studying the Torah, I want you to like have a signature line of yads. So we're focusing and learning on those types of paying attention and being able to read. Have you ever thought of starting a line of yads? And a yod for
Um,
everybody at home, it's like when you're at your bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, and you're studying Torah and you're trying to keep up. with everything, all the Hebrew, all the words in the Torah, you have a little pointer. So it's called a yod.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a great idea. In the meantime, I could say that this book is kind of like a little yad because it's written in a special print for kids with dyslexia and learning difficulties. So we start with the book, and then maybe one day we'll move towards like, special yad that could help people with learning
There you
difficulties. That sounds like a really good idea.
There you go. Tamir Goodman, he's like a yod. He's a human yod. He's showing us the way. Uh, we love it, Tamir. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. A great inspiration. You meant a lot to me. Still to this day, but as a young kid, you meant a lot to many of us out there. So we really appreciate everything you're doing. Good luck to your son, and good luck with this book. We appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for thinking of me, and blessings to everybody.
All right. Thank you.